And you are ready to go.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Finance Committee meeting on March 9th. Since my Janet is on vacation today, so I'll do the roll call. The Supervisor Jasmine Syed, Councilwoman Denise McGraw, Councilman John. Thank you. Councilman John Delarada. Hi.
Hello.
Councilman Bill McPartlin.
Hello.
Hi. Councilwoman Rosemary.
Here.
Hi. And Town Attorney Paul Briggs.
Good evening.
Hi. Did you get everything from me, Paul?
I did, thank you.
You're so welcome. Okay. May I please have a motion to accept minutes from a Finance Committee meeting on March 9th?
Motion to accept the minutes.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. So once again, we have a very long agenda. I apologize for that. So I will be really, really brief. So
Is Matt-
yes, sir.
You need to make so it's been seconded, you may need to make a motion to approve the minutes.
May I please have a motion
Now to take a,
approve the minutes?
so take a vote. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Next time I'll write down in my notes, I promise. Okay, thank you, everybody. So the first item for action is a discussion regarding certain budgetary modifications. And I actually sent a revised budget modifications to everybody last night with some comments. So in other words, these are our annual typical year-end entries. And this is just the first batch of those. This is going to be an ongoing till we close the books in May. Any questions about that?
Yasmin, I got one question about the UCC assessment decreasing. Can you explain what that's about, why that went down? Usually that doesn't happen.
When it did not go down, so basically we are saying is that we have paid all of it. That's what it means.
Okay.
The second one is a discussion regarding revisions to the COVID emergency pandemic sick policy, remote work policy, and the flexible work arrangement policy, which is going to sunset at the end of March. Supervisor, you want to say a few words about it?
Sure. Can everybody hear me? I'm not speaking through a mic on my computer. I have a camera, just not a mic, so I'm talking through my cell phone. But yes, essentially, last year when the pandemic began and we first closed our doors to the public, believe it or not, it was exactly a year ago that we're going to be reopening on March 15th again. And we enacted some pretty rich and necessary policies at that time to protect our employees and make sure that they were provided with adequate policies and procedures in the event that they came into contact with someone who had COVID themselves. And now that we are at the point where we're reaching a pretty high vaccination percentage, both in the community and amongst our employees, we're now reopening to the public shortly. We are at that point where we can reevaluate these policies and procedures and get back to normal. So that's essentially where we're at right now. Thanks.
Thanks, Supervisor. So the next two items, items C and D, I'm going to combine them into one. It's just to give, I've been giving update to the town board and to the employees where we are, what's happening, any good recommendations, the next action steps in regard to the unemployment insurance fraud. So as of today, we have 6 cases where either the employees received either a fraudulent unemployment insurance letter or the town received it. We have been in touch with our insurance carrier. We have been in touch with the employees, and we have been in touch with the police department. The process is that they will, as soon as if it comes to the employees, they are going to notify me, and they also will file a report with the local police department. And then I take this information and I filter it down to our insurance carrier, which are absolutely awesome. They responded within the same day. So in the meantime, Seth is further enhancing and strengthening our firewall and network, and our police department is doing investigation on their own for both the employees and the residents, because apparently there are few residents who were impacted by this terrible fraud that's going on right now. In regard to the cyber security policy, actually, late last year, I asked our consultant to aggressively bid out and shop the insurance policy. So I'm really happy to announce that for additional $600, we got a policy with a coverage of $250,000 instead of $100,000. So just in the nick of time. However, at this point, in order to get a forensic investigator through our carrier, which is in travelers insurance, our deductible are the first 10,000. Just my recommendation would be, at this point, we have 6 cases only. At this point, we should allow Seth to do whatever he's doing. He's here only for 1 month, and he's very knowledgeable. He's doing a great job. We have a daily conversation about that. So give him some time, a couple of months, to, unless it's just, becomes a huge issue, let him do that to do everything, and then absolutely do an external audit if need be. Because we want to be 100% make sure that everything, our information, our employees' information is safe and secure. Any questions about that, please? And actually, there were a couple of employees who saw the article in Gazette and then became aware of what's going on, and then they reported it to us. And then the next one is, I am going to ask Paul Briggs to go over the town's nepotism policy. Paul, it's all yours.
So with the help of outside people, we've developed a nepotism policy, which is exactly as it sounds. It's a policy that requires town employees to, when someone's hired or potentially an employee, they have to prepare a form that discloses any of their relationships with any existing town employees. And that allows the board then to consider whether or not that employee and the potential employee is being hired or not hired based on their relationship to the existing employee. And it's a good policy. It's pretty straightforward and pretty much common sense, but it's something that we need to do for the sake of all our employees, because anytime someone's hired that has some relationship to another town employee, well, on its face, it seems to be appropriate. There's often issues with other employees that think that that's improper. So the policy is clear. The form that's got to be filed by all employees is clear, and it's rather simple and straightforward and makes sense. And so we're going to implement that and include that as part of our employee manual.
Is that from today going forward, Paul, or is that something that's going to be filled out with any family members that are currently working for the town?
It'll be, once we pass the resolution implementing the policy, it'll be from that date forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Great job on that. Now, item number F, a discussion regarding DASNY grants and a loan from fund balance to cash flow the ongoing projects. Now, the amount it's not just DASNY grants. There are about 4 grants that make up that amount. The amount is $386,965. That is not to say that the town board allowed the town to loan another $250,000 last month from the fund balance. What was happening is what my understanding is that when the grants were approved, there should have been a set amount of money for both for the cash flow, for the grant itself, especially if reimbursement, and or the town's share, if it's any. There's 20% match or 25% match. They should have been put in that particular project. With the cash flow in my past life, I always used to make sure that we have enough funding to cash flow it. So it's like a bridge. It's a loan bridge. It's a bridge financing to the projects. So that's what we are asking you to do. And now that we have a wonderful grant writer on board, and she excels in DASNY grants reimbursement, we are going to get all the paperwork and all the information from Laura, who has managed them very well up till now. And we will flow through her so we can, start applying for the reimbursement and start getting the money and paying it back to the fund balance. So I am really excited about this. We'll be setting up a new process. We'll be getting some money in, and we will replenish all of the fund balance that we are talking about. Any questions about that? Wow, it's going faster than I expected.
No, sorry. So these are all bridge loans. Is there any money left in fund balance though?
There will be some fund balance left. Yes. We did I had shared some documents with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look at the bottom, there is an anticipated amount as of what we know right now. But at that point, I thought it was going to be $350,000. So it's a little bit higher. It's $40,000 higher. So that's really, really important that for the previous DASNY grant, the 250, and plus these grants, we get the reimbursement ASAP. I know the process is from getting any kind of grant funding back is, I know, DASNY. So
I'm
that's what
I'm slugging it out for one for Philip Morris 3 years ago.
Yep.
I think
So,
it first started when you were there. I mean, it takes forever.
it takes a long time. It takes a long time. I mean, used to be on the average used to be 8 weeks, but
Yeah.
now with COVID and everything and everybody working remotely, it's going to be, I'm looking at least 6 months, at least.
Okay.
Hopefully
but you know the process. We're in good
Yes.
hands. I'm not worried about that. You know the process.
But you are absolutely right. Are we going to get 100% back? I do not know. At this point, without having all the grants agreement, I don't even know what the town's true match is or was, or what we set up. Is it 25%? Is 17%? Is 50%? I don't have information at this point. But all I know is that we need to, if the town board approved them, and now we need to pay the vendors. But in the meantime, we are going to do a bridge loan, and then we are going to figure everything out.
Okay.
Thank you. Your confidence level is high that we'll be getting the majority of this money.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely, but just the timing thing,
Right.
Until then, we will have to cash flow it.
And Bill, you listen to what she just said. She doesn't know what the match is going to be.
Well, let's talk to me about that.
Right.
That's a little interesting. I thought we knew what some of these were when we got into that.
Well, I started looking at one of the grants, right? Actually, I was working with Frank. He's extremely good. I mean, he knows the grants inside out.
Good.
I was looking at one of the grants. So a resolution said about one of the DASNY grants, 25%. Now, 4 months later, there was another newer resolution that was back in, I think it was 2019, where it said 17%. So we don't know whether it changed from 25% to 17% match, or it was a typo, or something happened in between. Don't know. So we are looking into that. And I promise the town board, once again, that whatever I find, good, bad, or ugly, that I've been doing, I'll report back to you, because you need to know what the fiscal picture of the town is at any given time. And so I will keep doing the forecast that I've been doing. I provided you guys.
Okay.
Okay, so but your anticipation is that the match might be less. Is the match going to be more?
My thing is that right now, what I'm seeing, I anticipate the match might be higher than what we had anticipated.
Will you just make me a list? I'll get to the bottom of it. And then I know Sue Lombardi will too. But
Yeah,
by the time she starts.
She's awesome. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, right, because I mean, these resolutions were sort of approved by the board,
Yes.
you know, with a certain amount in mind, right? The match was 25%, or the match was whatever the match was, and now if the match is 50%, that's a whole different thing.
Exactly. Yes.
And this just underscores the importance of tracking these things from the beginning, right?
Yes. So that's what we are doing. We are
Right.
starting from the day that we got the grant and then following the steps one by one till we
Right.
figure out.
And now moving forward, we'll do it from the beginning.
Oh,
Make it
God,
easy.
yes. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Ismat, did any of
Yes,
this
sir.
take into consideration, I was reading in the paper, some federal loans. Have we found anything about, I think it said $2.5 million to the town of Niskayuna. Have we gotten anything firm on that from anybody?
Yes, John, we
Yes.
have. We've heard from Senator Schumer, and then his staff called me yesterday. We have the chart that was in the paper was actually provided to them by Congressman Tonko. I spoke with them as well yesterday. We originally thought that the number was a little different. Numbers may have gotten inverted when we originally got some initial information about what was passed by Congress. But the 2.45 is now the hard number moving forward.
So that will go right to our bottom line, yes? Okay.
That's the idea. That's the
I'll be
idea.
dancing that day, John.
I mean, this is the reality of when our guy is the Senate Majority Leader.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this state is in much better shape today than it was previously.
No question.
Yeah. And directly to us. Yeah. Not funneled through the state, as I
Mhm.
mentioned to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And thank you, Ismet. I know you were right on top of this one as well. And Yasmin.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, that's
Yasmin
big.
too. But
yep.
that day, literally, I'll be dancing when I get the
I
money.
know.
Like, and then take it and put it in the fund balance, hide it. Okay. G, a resolution to allow for electronic filing for assessment grievance. And I'm going to ask our assessor, Eric, take it away.
So Tax and Finance has come up with standards for municipalities to accept electronic assessment grievances. And this is something I want to do. We already have the infrastructure in place. It's not going to cost us anything, which is the nice part. We did it last year as the world was closing down because of COVID. And in order to keep social distancing at a maximum, I did have an email account set up where we could accept electronic tax documents. And we'll just keep continuing that this year. The only difference is now we have standards, and one of the standards is that we have to have it approved by the board. And frankly, this is 2021. I think this is something we should be doing. And anyway, I have thoughts about how to do this in the future, but again, we already paid for what we have now. We can do it.
That's great. Well, I support this wholeheartedly. So how about the grievance process?
In terms of
Our traditional grievance process is, what's the idea moving forward for that? You think you'll be in person?
I don't know. I'm assuming it's going to be in person, but I can't tell the future. Unfortunately, I'm preparing as it's going to be in person. I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I have a template from last year if we do have to go remote again. But as these emails come in, we're going to print them out and we're going to process them. We're going to have an automatic reply go to the sender. Just say we received your documents and stating that if they would like to address the board, and they're not required to contact us, and we'll set up a time.
And Eric, does this cover both residential and commercial?
Yes, yes.
Oh, my God.
So is this going to be a good thing or a bad thing? It sounds like there's going to be more, if it's easier to assess, aren't more people going to do it?
It's hard to say. I know overall our numbers, our grievance numbers are going down. The further we get away from our last reassessment, the fewer people grieve their assessments. And next year there might be an uptick because I'm sure there are some people who are put off from grieving their taxes, their assessments, because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to be denying people, people have a right to be heard
Mm-hmm.
and have a right to state their case. And I think that we should have these means available for them.
I agree. I just am trying to anticipate a financial hit on it or not, and I guess it's probably too speculative. We won't know until it happens.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. A resolution approving an amendment to Chapter 69 of the Town Code entitled Brush, Grass, and Weeds. Elena.
Yes, so actually H, I, and J all relate to the public hearings that are going to be held tonight. H on the Chapter 69 amendment will just provide an opportunity for the board to set fees relative to that chapter by resolution instead of by amending the local law every time. It's something that we've been doing with multiple chapters in the code over the past several years. So that's that one. I is related to the public hearing that we'll have tonight on the police reform collaborative plan. So we'll receive the public comments on that, amend the plan accordingly, and have that submitted for a board vote at the end of the month so that we can get it to the state in a timely fashion on April 1st. Same thing with J, but that relates to our emergency management plan that Charlie worked very hard on and got that done. So we'll receive public comment on that tonight. Also have that for a town board vote at the end of the month and have that plan submitted to the state for the April 1st deadline. Any questions on any of those? And then K is also, that kind of relates to J. Charlie is also working on a pandemic action plan specific to the town and PPE equipment. If we ever have anything that happened over the past year, again, how department heads, sorry about that, how department heads will be able to request PPE, where it will be stored, and those sort of details are going to be condensed into a plan. And then we're going to have the unions review it, make comment, and we'll have a resolution hopefully for the end of the month to have that added to the employee handbook. Any questions on that one?
Thank you, Elena. I'm going to ask Charlie to talk about it briefly because honestly, he has taken so much time and effort to go over this plan. He has talked to the county. He has talked to the state. He has done extensive amount of work. So I'll just ask him for 1 minute. Maybe he's not there.
Yep,
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, I can't see you. Okay.
I just turned it on. See me now?
Okay. Yes, loud and clear. Thank you, Charlie, so much for all your work on that, on hard work. I know how much you did. So
You're
just
welcome. Well, Brian did help out. He started it with getting some plans from a couple local municipalities, and then I just got the master plan from the county from Scott Pike he sent over to me. So now I'm just re-going through everything to mash it all together, and then whatever public comments we have on it to take a look at those and get any more input to add to our plan or to make any adjustments that we might have to do. And then for the pandemic plan, that I with Marshall and Sterling, they have a bunch of like outline plans, and they have a COVID plan that pretty much aligned with a pandemic plan. So it's just a matter of doing some rewording there. And we had to add in like 3 different areas because the state regulation has 8 sections that we have to address. So we added some wording in to address those particular sections.
Thanks, Charlie. Once again,
Yep.
thank you.
Charlie, thank you. I started reading over the plan. I mean, it's an extensive document, and you did a great job putting it together. And again, thank you for doing that for us.
I do the best I can.
Great job.
Yeah, thanks so much, Charlie.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Charlie. And the next one is Paul Briggs. You want to talk about hiring a real estate appraiser for SI Group?
Yes, SI Group property on, as everyone recalls, they had proposed a year or so ago moving from their location on Balltown Road. That plan changed, and in the process of doing that, they had an appraisal prepared because they wanted to sell the property. Fortunately for the town, they elected to stay in their property, and their attorney has filed a challenge to the level of assessment. We already have their appraisal. I need to retain they've commenced an action under the Real Property Action and Proceeding Law in State Supreme Court. The town needs to retain an appraiser to review the appraisal and also to do a site visit. Give me a chance to see the facility with our appraiser. I've located one of the top firms in the state out of Buffalo. Glenville and Schenectady have both used them in the past. And I need authority to retain that firm to conduct an appraisal. The process is we're going to have that appraiser do just a preliminary appraisal, not what we call a court-ready appraisal. And a preliminary appraisal will allow us then to meet as a board in executive session to look at the numbers and decide what course in this litigation we're going to take with respect to the value, because that's a very important property to the town and the assessment is substantial. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I don't think we have anything referred from the public safety or from public works. We have one item referred from transportation. I don't know whether Ray is here or not, or I can talk about it. Okay, so Ray is not here. So what happened?
Ray's here. Ray's here.
Ray's here.
You can still
He's
talk
just
about it. I know
muted.
you talked, but
Go ahead,
sorry,
Ray.
I know you and Ray discussed it, so maybe Ray. Go ahead, Ismat. Ray can jump in.
I guess not. Okay. So last year, during the storm system, Ray was renting a big snowblower. He was paying about $900 per month. They need a snowblower. So we talked about it. He had last year he had about almost 10,000 left in his budget. So instead of going out and buying a new snowblower that he needs badly, he asked this company if he can buy this. So they gave him 85% discount on that. So he has enough funding in his 2020 budget that I can set up a reserve and he can purchase that. So actually, if he keeps renting it, for 12 months or whatever it is, it's going to cost them more money. So I think it makes sense financially to buy that right now. Just take the 2020 money, use it, put a reserve, and let's buy it. And it's 85% discount. I sound like a salesperson, don't I? So, any questions about that? Okay, thank you. We don't have anything referred from the community programs and referred from the economic development. So with that, our next finance committee meeting is going to be on April 13th, next month. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye, I guess.
Aye.
The puppy dog.
Aye.
Anything, thank you. Anything else, Paul? Okay.
Thank
See
you.
you at 7. Thank you.
Thank
you.
Good night.